Have you ever wanted to go on a heartfelt journey in the lives of your loved ones and newfound acquaintances? Do you enjoy listening and engaging in uplifting discussions that leave you motivated and inspired to take action in your own life? This podcast is a space where we have in-depth conversations on family, health, spirituality, entrepreneurship, and well, just plain old life. I'm Jesse De Leon, and this is my passion. Join me on a walk into the fascinating narratives and meaningful conversations that shape our experiences. Welcome to The Knowing, a Life and Stories podcast. Hello, and welcome back to The Knowing, a Life and Stories with me as your host. So why do I do the podcast? Well, I was doing a client's hair the other day, and he's kind of a conservative businessman in the city, and he just asked me, "So Jesse, why are you doing the podcast?" Well, I know I've told you guys before that I literally was walking. I was actually staying at this client's beach house in Florida, in Alabama, and I was by myself, and I was going through some breakup struggles in my life at the time, and just trying to figure things out. And so I took a walk on the beach and I started jogging, and I'm not a jogger, but I don't know. I just felt like jogging that morning. And I was basically the only one out on the beach. And I was just praying to God, talking to him, saying, I really need you. I really need you to help me. And I'm struggling. I'm feeling this pain, this loss of this relationship, and it really is hurting me. And I just need you to help me. And so I didn't hear a voice. It wasn't like I heard a voice. It was in my head. Like I heard it clearly and distinctly. And the message was, son, I need you to trust me. And I need you to tell everyone who will listen to you to trust me. That was the message that I got. And I just started to think, well, how am I going to do this, Lord? How do you want me to do this? And I mentioned this before as well several times on the show that, I just said to him, well, if it means that I have to be like go door to door and proclaim your word and speak, your words and tell people to trust you, I can't do it. I don't have the courage to do that. And it really scared me. And it just showed me the kind of sense of humor that the Lord has, because I just felt like he was laughing at me, and not laughing at me, but laughing with me. And he said, no, son, I'm not going to ask you to do that, but I will help you to do that. I will guide you in doing that. And I never knew it was going to be in the form of a podcast, but this is why I do the podcast, because I do it because the Lord has asked me to let people know about him, and that he wants us all to trust him. Also, the podcast is to, as I told my client Joe, I'm doing the podcast because also I'm meant to, through the Lord and the Holy Spirit's inspiring me, that we're meant to share stories with each other so that we don't feel alone. We're meant to be there for one another and to share our experiences, because it's so interesting how I can have 10 people in my salon chair in 1 week, and they may not even know each other. Most of them. And they're all talking about the same struggle that they're having. So that is sometimes how my inspirations for topics for the show come about. I want to share the struggles that these 10 individuals are having, or 3 individuals, whatever the number might be. But if it's a recurring theme that seems to be the theme for the week, that is one of the ways that I feel the Lord's inspired me to talk about and to bring it onto the show, so that we can be connected, so that we can grow together in holiness, so that we can truly be there as we're meant to be there for each other as brothers and sisters. And that really is another reason I do the show. And he said, well, give me an example. Joe said, well, give me an example about something that I might need to learn from your show. And I said, oh, wow. Okay. Well, if you will listen to the episode where that's titled My Confession, um, you're going to learn something very deep about me and very real and a big struggle that I have. And I said, so I walk you through the experience in the confessional before, during, and after. And then I share a very, very personal, um, you know, um, struggle that I have. And that struggle is pornography, or was pornography. And Joe stopped me and he said, wait a minute, you said that? You talk about that on the show? He's like, wow, that's very brave. And I don't think I could do that. And in fact, he said, I couldn't do that. And I said, yeah, but Joe, it's so interesting that not only men struggle with pornography, but so do women. And I remember a friend of mine, a real good friend of mine, came to me and she said, oh my God, I've discovered my husband on, the computer on porn. And, we're not being very intimate a lot in these days. And when I caught him on that, I thought, this is why. You don't, I mean, if you're leaning to that to satisfy you, then you're not coming to me for that, which is so sacred in our marriage that we're meant to share with one another. And she was, very seriously thinking about leaving him. And I said, you can't do that. This is a struggle or you ought not do that. This is a struggle that's real for him, and it's real for a lot of us. And so you need to talk to him about it, because I don't know any two people that love each other more than the two of you. But I said, we're all imperfect and we all have struggles, and that happens to be his. So talk to him about it. And she did. And well, they stayed together, until he passed many years later. And so I shared that struggle because it was something that I had so much shame attached to myself. And I didn't want that anymore. So confession helped me to do that. And that's just a few of the reasons. I say it's connectivity. It's about shared experiences. It's about, how can we teach each other about, spirituality, relationships, health and wellness, entrepreneurship. It's what the show's about. And I mentioned these things in the intro to each episode. So it's very important to me, and that's why I'm doing it, because I want to help and I want to do what God wants me to do. So let's see, make sure I'm getting all these these points that I'm trying to make here. Okay, so I'm going to. Another friend of mine and a client said to me, Jesse, can you talk about inflammation on your show? Because I was recently injured at the gym, and I'm having really lower back pain, and nothing helps. Nothing's helping. So what do you do for reducing inflammation? And I said, well, there's several things. First of all, we can start with, when you go into the grocery store, stay on the outside of the lanes. Okay. Stay all along the edges of the grocery store, because that's where all the fresh fruit and whole foods are. Your chicken, your fish, your beef, your dairy products, your eggs, fruit and vegetables. It's all on the edges. It's what's in the center of the store that doesn't need to be refrigerated, because because the things along the wall have to be refrigerated because it's got a short shelf life. So the things that are in the center of the store, it's all packaged and processed so that it can last for months and even years. So if you think about it, it's kind of gross. Like, why would we put that in our bodies? And it's those things that are causing us to have inflammation and hold on to inflammation. So it's really important to drink a lot of water. I start my morning off with sparkling water. I put a sprinkle, like literally a sprinkle of Celtic salt, like 2 or 3 granules in the water. I put a sprinkle of baking soda, baking powder, Armor Hammer. And I also put a little bit of apple cider vinegar. And that's how I start my day. I ingest that first, and then I sit and meditate and pray in the morning. And then I'll get in that time, it's giving me time to let the water go through my body. And then I have a cup of coffee. And in my coffee, I put turmeric, a sprinkle of turmeric, a sprinkle of cinnamon, a sprinkle of cayenne pepper, because these are herbs, spices that literally help to reduce inflammation, to get rid of inflammation, and get it out of our bodies. So another thing that I do, it's actually quite tasty. Someone said, "Can you still taste the coffee?" I said, "Yeah, I can taste the coffee." It just, I mean, I just put a dash in. Sometimes I put a little more cinnamon. I can taste that. Sometimes I put a little more cayenne pepper, and I taste the spice in that. But it actually tastes really good. And I also put a little bit of butter. I put Kerrygold butter. I like real natural butter. That is to lubricate the brain, so it's a healthy fat. And I start my morning with the low healthy fat as well. And with that butter. And then I do a non-dairy, no sugar, dairy in my coffee, and it's called Nut Pod. And there are different kind of flavors in there, so you can try and see which one you like the best. I like the vanilla flavor, the original natural, not flavor at all. So sometimes I use the vanilla one for when I'm drinking hot tea. That tastes really good in my hot tea. And let's see. So another thing that I do for reduce the reduction of inflammation is I work out in a sauna. It's called Hotworks. The studio is called Hotworks. They're starting to pop up all over the country and outside the country and in other parts of the world. It's meant to reduce inflammation. It's one of the things that it does, that infrared light does. And coupled with heat at anywhere from 113 degrees to 130 degrees, it's when it really works. It's at its best, and it's working at a cellular level. And so your people, like let's see, the motivational speaker. I'm losing my train of thought here. You have Mark Zuckerberg, and you have, the Elon Musks of the world. These people that can afford to have their own, their own infrared saunas in their homes. They're expensive, but when you join Hotworks, you don't have to. You don't have to buy the sauna and put it in your home. You can use it 24 hours a day. They have virtual instructors on the TV screen in each sauna. And I just happen to use the sauna where I can row and I can, do my cycling. And 15 minutes is each session for the cycle and the row, but it's the equivalent of doing 30-minute workout, which is amazing. And I love that. I'm obsessed with the philosophy of Hotworks. That has completely helped, along with what I'm doing with my coffee and my water in the morning. It's completely helped to reduce and remove inflammation from my body. When I used to walk across the room, you could hear my ankles crick. And then I started to get tennis elbow, and it was really painful, and I'd have to massage that. And now I don't have those pains in my body anymore, and I'm sleeping better. The infrared treatment helps with that. It also helps with the skin to make it look supple and healthy and youthful. And that it just has. You'll have to read up on it. Go to Google Hotworks, and the founder and CEO of that company. I'm going to have him on the show someday. I ran into him again at a restaurant last weekend, and reminded him that I will get back to him about having him on the show, and he wants to do it. So Google it, learn about it. I highly recommend it. I also want to talk about, that leads me to other things that I do for my youthful looks or my youthful skin. People are always asking me, like, okay, tell me again. So I just want to remind you, I use organic vitamin E oil. I use organic coconut oil. In fact, the one I'm using right now, I get it from a friend of mine. She owns a store called Earth Savers here in New Orleans, and she has a lot of really cool stuff in there, from comfortable clothing to amazing vitamins. Get all my vitamins from her. It's the brand she uses and recommends is Metagenics, and you can call the store and order it. They can ship it to you. But the coconut oil I'm using right now is something that she has developed for the store and designed it for the store, and it's just an organic coconut oil. So check it out. It's Earth Savers, one word. I also use what is really popular right now. You see it on Instagram a lot. It's called It's called beef tallow, beeswax, and honey. It really is meant to balance the skin, to keep you from getting acne. It takes away fine lines around the eyes, around the face. Use that every day. Now, I don't know if how true that it works, how true that is. I've just been using it for about a month, but I like it so far. And gosh, I feel like I've covered a lot today. I do a fish oil, guys. I do vitamin D. If you just get out and get in the sun and go do a little workout, go take a walk and get some sun, get that vitamin D, that will help with inflammation as well. So lots of tips that you can get online and Google that. I'm just here to share what I'm inspired to share and what I'm asked to share. So guys, know that I'm praying for you, and please continue to pray for me. I wanted to read something really quick to you. It was something that was sitting on my table, and it just pierced me. And I just picked it up, and it's a picture of Jesus. I don't know if you can see it. There it is, right there. And I'm going to just read it to you, and I'm going to close the show out with that. Trust him. Trust him when dark doubts assail you. Trust him when your strength is small. Trust him when to simply trust him seems the hardest thing of all. Trust him. He is ever faithful. Trust him. His will is best. Trust him. The heart of Jesus is the only place of rest. Trust him. Then through doubts and sunshine, all your cares upon him cast till the storm of life is over and your trusting days are past. So think on that. I love you guys. Until next time, have a great day.